Coming face to face with bankruptcy is hard. It feels like rock bottom. There is so much to deal with that it is hard to know where to start, and that can be incredibly discouraging. But if you are considering bankruptcy, or if you have already gone through it, there is one important thing you need to understand. This is not the end. This is the beginning. When financial disaster strikes, it feels like the end of the world, but the reality is, it is really a clean slate and a huge opportunity. Most people never get a chance to build their life from scratch exactly the way they want to. They are trapped by their own comfort zones. A lot of them are not happy or fulfilled, but they are scared to leave everything behind and start fresh, so they don't. A huge amount of people goes through life in this state of half contentment. When you are facing bankruptcy, there are no more comfort zones. They are long gone. Being scared of the future is a natural reaction, but it's not the right one to have. Every limitation that ever was imposed on your future is gone now. That means you can make it into everything you want. You can have anything you want. The possibilities of what you can build for yourself are probably beyond anything you have ever imagined before. If you are looking to go into real estate investing, you are going to have the freedom to create your empire from the ground up. Everything you have ever dreamed of is literally at your fingertips. You just need to get back at your feet so you can take the first steps towards getting what you want out of life. If you are looking at bankruptcy, I can help you get through it. I can help you decide whether you should file or not. And if you do need to file, I am going to take you through that process and give you all the steps you need to rebuild your finances after it is all over. Deciding whether to file for bankruptcy. Before you move forward, you have to really understand where you are. There are a lot of misconceptions about bankruptcy. Let's just start by defining it from scratch. Bankruptcy is a legal procedure that lets a court decide how you will distribute money to your creditors. The court can force your creditors to take less than what you owe. It can also renegotiate your debt entirely. Despite how it sounds, bankruptcy is not an easy way out. Some people think that they can file for bankruptcy and it will be like nothing never happened. That is not true. There are some important things to keep in mind before you make this decision to file. For starters, filing for bankruptcy will have a serious effect on your finances. It will result in bad credit, and you might also lose home equity, your pension, and sometimes even personal property. If you are in a situation where you have a choice, then you will need to think it over. That said, bankruptcy is a way to let people who are in over their head start over. If you have to file, that is a serious decision. It is not the end of the world, but it does mean that you will be starting a little ways further back on the road to financial recovery. You don't want to file for bankruptcy unless you have to. There is a simple way to decide if you need to file for bankruptcy. What you need to do is to determine whether you can pay off all your debts, not including your mortgage, in 3 years or less, and still have a good standard of living. If you can do that, then you do not need to file for bankruptcy. If that isn't possible, filing for bankruptcy is your best option. The next question then comes, how do you know whether you can pay off all your debt in 3 years or not? Figuring out whether you can pay off all of your debt in 3 years is actually a 4-step process. To do it, you need to calculate how much you can put toward paying off that debt every month. And to make that calculation, you need to have a clear picture of your income versus your expenses. So if we start up here at step 1, this is where you figure out exactly how much you owe in debt. For many people, debt is spread over several different credit cards or other loans. This step just helps you put everything into place so you can understand exactly what you are dealing with. All you are going to do here is you are going to list every one of your debts, how much you owe, and what the interest rate on the loan is. Pretty straightforward. You just need to figure out where you are standing. Go ahead and list everything. Credit card, student loans, car loans, but do not count your mortgage in there. It is not relevant to what you are trying to do here. Once everything has been listed, you can move down to step 2. This is where you figure out how much money you are bringing in every month. Your income is your salary, but it can include plenty of other things as well. If you are making extra money from a side business, list that. If you are getting income from court-ordered payments, retirement funds, income properties, anything you bring in gets listed in this step. When you have it all written out and accounted for, tally up the number. This is going to give you your total income per month. Obviously, you cannot put your entire income towards paying off your debt. So the next thing you have to figure out in step 3 here is how much of your monthly income can go toward your debt. The way you do this is by figuring out your disposable income. Disposable income is the money you have left after you have paid for your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are things you have to buy every month. For example, you have to pay the rent, you have to eat, you have to pay the utility bills. So what you are going to do here is list all of your fixed expenses. Just go down the list and fill in the blanks. Remember, this is only for your fixed expenses, the things you need, not the things you would like to have. Once everything is been listed, again, you are going to tally it up. The total is the amount of money you put towards maintaining a decent standard of living every month. Now you have those numbers, you need to calculate your disposable income. Take your fixed expenses from step 3 and subtract it from your total income that you have figured out in step 2. So you can see in the example here, our total income was $7,500 and our total fixed expenses were $5,000. When then subtracted $5,000 from $7,500, the amount of money that is left over is $2,500. That is our disposable income. That is what we can afford to put toward debt every month. When all of that has been taken care of, we can move to the last step in the process, which is to calculating whether you will be able to pay off your debt in 3 years or not. 3 years is equal to 36 months. So that means that you have to pay off the debt in 36 payments or less. It gets tricky because you are not just paying off the principal, you also have to factor in the interest rate. So what we are going to do here is go back to the list you have made in step 1 for a minute. You are going to pick the debt with the highest interest rate, and you are going to start by paying off that one first. In this example here, we have $10,000 worth of debt on 3 credit cards, and the one with the highest interest rate is the Visa. Therefore, we start with the Visa. First, we list the principal payment, then we multiply it by the interest rate to see how much extra you have to pay in interest that month. Add the interest to the total to get your total amount owed. Once we know that we can subtract the amount we are able to put toward your debt, that brings us down to a new balance on the principal. We take that new balance and we put it on the next line. Then we run the calculation again for month 2 and again for month 3, all the way through month 36. Once you pay off one credit card, swipe in the principal for the next step and keep on going. If your balance hits 0 before you reach month 36, you can pay off all your debts in 3 years or less, and you don't need to file for bankruptcy. If you still have a balance remaining after month 36, it will take you more than 3 years to pay off your debt, and bankruptcy is the best option for you.